think the first one is from a philosopher and the second one is from a player.
No other tennis player talks like this.
Sometimes he says something smart.
I think the player said the first one.
We've got some famous quotes. They're either from tennis players or from more well-known thinkers, philosophers. You're going to look at the quotes and tell me which do you think was said by a tennis player.
That's where it all starts. It all starts with an idea. The second one is the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing.
The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. It's from a tennis player.
That's where it all starts. It all starts with an idea.
That's where it all starts. It starts with an idea. There's only one person who can go there for that.
Could that first one be me? Of course. It's like, no other tennis player talks like this.
The sun has 1,000 meanings, starting from the fact that I like the sun and the heat. Then it becomes a metaphor and represents the people in my life, starting with my family and my mother. Lately, I tend to see everything in the dark. I have a particular need for light in every sense. And the second quote is, nobody can give more power than he has himself.
I'll presume the second.
I think the second one.
First one is a philosopher. I would doubt that's a tennis player talking like this.
Nobody can give more power than he has himself is said by a tennis player. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wrong again. Huh?
Are you kidding me? Oh, his tattoos!
Yeah, I hope he's fine.
Oh, the light, that was weird.
That's spooky, huh? There's no reason, in my opinion, not to hope for a victory. The second one is the best way to predict the future is to invent it.
The first one has to be said by a tennis player.
Tennis player said there is no reason, in my opinion, not to hope for a victory.
There's no reason, in my opinion, not to hope for a victory.
Not to hope for a victory.
Felix, I guess you.
Over one's mind and over one's body, the individual is sovereign. And then the more you lose something, the more you want to win it. That's a tennis player.
The second one said by a tennis player. Could it be myself or?
I think the tennis player said the more you lose something, the more you want to win it.
The more you lose something, the more you want to win it. But I don't really agree with that.
А кто пус? Sometimes he says something smart.
The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. Second one is you always have to continue working because everybody is. Once you stop, the others will overtake you.
I think the tennis player said you always have to continue working because everybody is.
Once you stop, the others will overtake you.
Well, that's a player for sure. I remember that. Who said that?
I think the second one is from a tennis player.
Never mind. I guessed it right.
You did, your Dominic team.
The energy of the mind is the essence of life. It is not the opponent you fear, it is the failure itself. Knowing how near you were, but just out of reach.
But just out of reach. Okay, that's someone that with a rich English vocabulary. I guess a tennis player.
It is not the opponent you fear.
I think the first one is from a philosopher and the second one is from a player.
I think the player said the first one. Really? I always like to hear Andy's deep talk.